Morning trickles over the bruised vegetables. Like a drop of sweat over the lines of my hand, I crawl over the ground with stem and wrinkled mouth. The sun swells into the canals of monstrous leaves, which recover cemeteries, harbours, houses, with the same sticky green zeal. Then, with disturbing intensity, there passes through my mind the absurdity of human groupings in these lines of closely packed houses, like pores of the skin in the poignant void of terrestrial space. I hear crying of birds whom it used to be said that they sang and implaceable resembled stones. I see flocks of houses munching the pith of the air, factories which sing as birds once sang, roads which lose themselves in harvests of salt, pieces of sky which become dry on verdigris moss. A pulley's creaking tells us that a bucket rises in a well. It is full of limpid blood which evaporates in the sun. Nothing else will trouble this circuit on the ground until evening, which trembles under the form of an immense pinned butterfly at the entrance of a motionless station.
Once, if my memory serves me well, my life was a banquet where every heart revealed itself, where every wine flowed. One evening I took beauty in my arms, and I thought her bitter, and I insulted her. I steeled myself against justice. I fled. O witches, O misery, O hate, my treasure was left in your care. I have withered within me all human hope. With the silent leap of a sullen beast, I have downed and strangled every joy. I have called for the executioners. I want to perish chewing on their gun butts. I have called for plagues to suffocate in sand and blood. Unhappiness has been my god. I have lain down in the mud and dried myself off in the crime-infested air. I have played the fool to the point of madness. And springtime brought me the frightful laugh of an idiot. Now recently, when I find myself ready to croak, I thought to seek the key to the banquet of old, where I might find an old appetite again. The key is charity. This idea proves I was dreaming. You will stay a hyena, etc., shouts the demon, who once crowned me with such pretty puppies. Seek death with all your desires and all selfishness and all the 7 deadly sins. Ah, I have taken too much of that. Still, dear Satan, do not look so annoyed, I beg you. While waiting for a few belated cowardices, since you value in a writer all lack of descriptive or didactic flair, I pass you these few foul pages from the diary of the damned soul.
Harlequin's Carnival, 1924. It shows a multitude of objects, including a ladder and a harlequin with a hole in his stomach. This might have been a reference to Miro's poverty and hunger. The objects create a dynamic scene with wavy lines and primary colours.
Joan Miro. He was a Spanish painter, sculptor and ceramicist who lived in 1893 to 1983. He began drawing classes at 7 but worked as a clerk during his teenage years until he had a nervous breakdown. Flat shapes and lines began his surrealist work in 1923. In 1924, Miro joined the Surrealist group but chose not to be an official member. He created 23 garage series called Constellations in 1940, which featured celestial symbols. Miro practiced automated drawing, where his hand is allowed to move freely across the page. He died from heart disease.